Oh, you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that. If I hate you, then find someone new. Baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill. Take you like a Feel you like a pill to get my fill. No, do me in the worst way. Don't let me sleep, never say you're sorry. Oh, maybe I'll leave, baby, but you know I never will. No, so I choke you down just like a pill.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another amazing match here at the Rose League. I'm your play-by-play tonight, Captain Jack, joined by the man, the myth, the legend, the Mega Lad on the color roll tonight. How you doing tonight, Mega Lad?
I'm doing just fine, ready to watch some phenomenal Overwatch. How about you?
I am as well. Now, as most of you already know, this is our quarterfinals match in the Diamond Division between Pachimari Ninjas and Enigma. This match actually has already taken place. As many of you know, they're headed to the semifinals. But how exactly did that action go down? That is the question, and we will be finding that out tonight as we go ahead and watch the replay. Now, we know the score in the end is 3-2 for Pachimari Ninjas. Megalad, have you been following anything on these two teams to kind of get us ready for this evening?
Well, yes, obviously, you do know the scoreline going in, but as it was coming out when the match was happening, Enigma was one of three teams that able to actually even take a map off of Pachimari Ninjas, obviously running that 10-0, running the table, and it's just, going into this match, it was not a guarantee that Pachimari was going to walk out with the W.
That is true. Well, let's go ahead and see what these teams have got going on tonight. It looks like for the side of Pachimari Ninjas, we will be seeing Coach Teon and Zelaros and Iannis coming out with the Dive Goats comp, or Dotes as it has been coined. And for the side of Enigma, it looks like they're just going basic Goats composition. So, going to be interesting. Don't see any Annas on either side, so we're not going to be seeing a whole lot of big anti-nade action or anything like that. As the point getting ready to unlock, 15 seconds on the clock right now as we see Pachimari Ninjas moving their way into the objective, as well as Enigma already staking claim on the objective. Will be unlocking shortly as they go ahead and push Pachimari Ninjas all the way back to the spawn. It looks like Enigma getting ready to stake their claim here on Busan downtown, and we'll start that percentage climb, 3% and climbing.
Yeah, unfortunately right there, as you see, Coach Dayon did switch back to the Reinhardt because the Winston is just suboptimal when running into the 3-3 on the other side.
Just not something that they can handle, and it looks like they're going to be doing well to take that back. 17% and climbing right now for Enigma as Pachimari Ninjas go in and clean up the objective. Drex ends up getting the kill onto Iron Wolf, his double, as Azar gets the flail onto Loser. That's going to go ahead and grab the objective for the Pachimari Ninjas, 10% and climbing to 20%.
Yes, indeed, and obviously you see now that Pachimari Ninjas has mirrored that 3-3, they're able to just come in, not have to use any ultimates, and they're able to just take the clean fight decisively without the Winston.
And that's the interesting part about this is that when you're running goats and goats, it's always interesting to see which one's going to come out on top. And it's all about objective placement as Tatiana Ore taking down Coach Dayon and Bukido. I think I've got the. I might have Rukudo. There we go. Ends up getting the kill as well. Make that a double as they go ahead and take the objective back in their favor. Enigma going ahead and starting their percentage climb once again at 25% and climbing to 45% for the Pachimari Ninjas.
I mean, and in fights like that, it's just one team clicks rally, and with this GOATS meta, once you lose one teammate, there's really no point to fighting that fight unless you truly believe in your mechanical skill as a player.
Looking in the chat right now, Seinfeld, I won't repeat the first part, but let's go Ninjas. It looks like we've got some people rooting for either side. Vega, yes, this is already a postcast. We kind of already know how it's going to go down. We're just casting it live this evening because I actually have not watched this match except to get the time banks as to when everything switches over. We're going to see Leoi come out with the trans as well as the beat drop from Iron Wolf as they continue to hold on to the objective, but Rakudo getting that fire strike in on Drex, but Iannis following up on Iron Wolf in return. Introvert and Iannis and Zelaros just absolutely laying waste to Enigma on the objective as they go ahead and pop their way in. Azar ends up taking down Leoi as Coach Taeyeon follows up on Loser. That's going to go ahead and give them the objective back in their favor. 50% and climbing for the Pachimari Ninjas and 86% for Enigma.
86% for Enigma is correct. Obviously, you know, lots of ults going down between either side. Enigma not really getting the best of it because they did use a bunch of ults just to lose in the end, but they did get that percentage, so that's all that really matters in control.
Well, we are seeing a Graviton rally get popped out by Zappa and Tatiana as they go ahead and move in. The Transcendence going to come out from Introvert, keep the Pachimari Ninjas up as Coach Taeyeon getting the fire strike onto Rakudo. And the Diva Bomb coming down from Loser ends up taking down Drex as Tatiana follows up on Azar. Coach Taeyeon going to end up getting Tatiana in the end. It's a 4v4 fight on the objective right now as they meet the bank of Enigma right now, 90% and climbing. Here comes the Graviton out from Iannis. The Diva Bomb into the backline, but the shield able to absorb it. Good job, Rakudo, but Introvert and Iannis taking them out as soon as that shield turned around to absorb the Diva Bomb. That's going to go ahead and clear the objective of just about everyone. Tatiana coming in on the Hammond, but going to get stunned out as Loser trying to hold on, ends up getting demeched and killed by Coach Taeyeon, and that's going to be an objective secured for the side of the Pachimari Ninjas, 100 to 86% here on Busan Downtown.
Yes, indeed. It just looks like right now, just the execution is there for the Pachimari Ninjas. Whenever an ultimate comes out, it seems to be already decided what ults are going in, what's happening, and why it's happening. Whereas Enigma, they're just seeming to piece it together as they're going, but it's still not all lost. It's still salvageable. It is GOATS. GOATS always finds the way.
Yep, and they haven't been doing bad. They were only essentially 14% difference between the two of them taking that objective. Let's go ahead and see what they will bring out as we head into Busan Mecha Base. Now, as you know, there are all sorts of different ways in not only into the objective, but also the objective itself continues to change with those walls. That can prove to be either beneficial or detrimental, as we see them now fighting on the high ground. Control point unlocking in 10 seconds as they try to gain control of the high ground by getting the first pick. Azar looking incredibly low, but so is a majority of Enigma trying to get healed up by Iron Wolf as much as possible, but Iannis going to take them out first as Introvert follows up on Rakudo, and it's just going to be a clean sweep of everyone except for Loser, and that's going to allow Pachimari Ninjas to go ahead and take the objective and start their percentage climb here on Mecha Base.
Yeah, they do take the fight up on the high ground because, as you said, those walls, that's just a factor that neither team really wants to have to bank on the objective. So just try to take the fight at a choke as it goes down.
All right, it seems like we are a little behind the stream. We apologize for that, folks, trying to actually cast and stream it at the same time. We'll go ahead and fast forward your video there about 5 seconds. All right, it looks like we might be synced with the stream. Let me go ahead and check to make sure. It looks like we might be a little bit better. Let us know in the chat if we are still a little bit behind. 38% and climbing right now for the Pachimari Ninjas as they continue to hold. Giannis ends up taking down Tatiana as Coach Dayon follows up on Rakudo. It just seems like this Ryan Zarya composition between Coach Dayon and Giannis just seemed to be very taut between the two of them. It seems like there's just not much wiggle room to get in between those two characters.
I mean, no, and that's always the thing with these standard 3-3 compositions, it's just a lot of it comes down to a lot of if a Lucio can get a boop or if the mind games between the Rhine pays off.
That's true, and we're going to see a double Diva Bomb come down for Loser, and Zelaros ends up getting one on each team as Tatiana takes down Coach Dayon, and Iana's following up on Rakudo right there. The Transcendent's going to get popped by Introvert as well as the rally from Azar as they continue to fight for control of the objective. 83% and climbing right now, but it is a majority of red on the objective, almost 90% right now as Iana's getting the double kill onto Tatiana, and Iron Wolf looks to be cleaning it up. Zappa returning the favor onto Azar as they continue to fight for control of the objective. Go ahead and fast forward another 5 seconds. The Graviton ends up getting popped out by Giannis as overtime continues to tick away. It looks like that Pachimari Ninja is going to go ahead and take this objective and the match here on Busan 2-0.
2-0, but all was not lost for Enigma. That first round really close, one team fight away. The second round just got away from them just a little bit, but hey, it's still anybody's game, is what we're going to tell ourselves.
All right, so hopefully we have caught up now, folks. We are looking at the play of the game right now. That's the thing about watching this, Vice, watching it on the stream. It's just a little bit off even when you don't have a delay set. So Pachimari Ninjas already got the first map for this evening, but as we know, this was not an easy match between these two teams. It ended up coming down to a map 5 control at the very end. So I'm really interested to see how do you anticipate that Enigma will be possibly coming back here as we move to our hybrid map.
Well, obviously, Enigma right there, you saw they tried to mirror the GOAT's play. They even switched, made sure that they had the match in it, but unfortunately, Pachimari Ninjas is just too good in that GOAT's composition, so your best bet is to try to counter it, most likely with a Sombra, because that's what you're seeing the standard meta shift to nowadays in terms of a counter, but there are DPS compositions. If you're faithful enough in your DPS, I can also shut it down.
All right, well, it looks like we're actually headed to the hybrid map next. I had that one wrong. We're going to be headed to Eichenwald as our next map. That has been a popular choice for a majority of the teams that have been coming into the playoffs. I'm not for certain exactly what it is about it. Yes, I do. It's that one singular choke that no one can seem to get through if you block it down correctly. But as we've seen throughout all the playoffs matches, there have been a variety of different ways that you can get around that using the Fara Mercy over the side. If you're cheeky like myself, you'll use a Fara Mercy Diva to just go straight to the objective, or you can use the Symmetra Teleporter to go across the choke into the left-hand room and then make your way to the objective that way. Iron Wolf in the chat saying spoilers, TF. Dude, you already knew how this ended. Like, this isn't a spoiler if you already knew how the match went.
Wait, I'm sorry, this isn't live?
No, this isn't live. Goodness gracious. All right.
Yeah, so obviously here on Eichenwald, you do have, as you said for that first point, that lovely little choke that a lot of teams can hold down with goats or a bunker. But the main appeal of Eichenwald is hopefully you already know you're going to unlock that first point. And that second point really shuts down goats compositions just because there's too much open space for the goats comp to traverse.
That's absolutely true. And I know Iron Wolf in the chat is a little upset that the chat didn't know how this turned out, but if you even looked at the scoreboard for half a second, you knew how it turned out. The only thing we don't know is how it happened. Now, that's what none of us know right now, including us as the casters, as we go ahead and look at what the setup is on Eichenwald. Looks like Pachimari Ninjas once again going for the GOATS composition, as we see the similar composition coming out for the side of Enigma. Once again, GOATS on GOATS, but this time we're going to see Duckstage Dave coming in as the main tank. Looks like they were just waiting for them to get into the match, and Duckstage Dave going to get the first tackle there onto Rakudo as Tatiana ends up taking down Drex in the back line right there. It's a 5v5 fight on the objective. First tick going to go to Enigma already with 3 minutes 20 seconds on the clock as they continue to try to fight for control. The tackle comes in, but Duckstage Dave ends up getting taken down by loser Tatiana, incredibly charged out right now as Rakudo comes back into the objective. Tatiana going to take down Azara as Giannis follows up onto Leoi. 3 minutes on the clock right now, and a Transcendence going to get popped by Introvert as they continue to fight for control of the objective. We're getting ready to see the second tick get ready to be popped by Enigma as a fat shatter ends up coming in from Duckstage Dave, but the follow-up isn't going to happen thanks to Tatiana taking them out of the fight. Zappa and Rakudo also getting kills on the heels with Tatiana in control right now. That's going to be second tick, third tick with just about 2 minutes 30 seconds on the clock. That's going to give them 5 minutes to move their way into objective number 2.
And Enigma right there just really played it beautifully. Pachimari Ninjas holds just a little bit too passive, allows the speed boost around the corner that gets them to the objective, and they just play the objective from there. It was a bit of a slower game, but Enigma was able to just pretty much play the defense and just hold the objective and force Pachimari to them.
That is true. And looking at the chat, it seems that we are on key now, so we don't have to worry about fast forwarding anymore at this point. And it looks like we're going to see loser go ahead and work their way to the high ground as the Graviton comes out from Tatiana, as well as the Diva Bomb out from Zelaros, looking to clean up, but will end up being unsuccessful. All those ultimates wasted by the side of Pachimari Ninjas, as we see Enigma, who I believe just used the oh no, they used Graviton, Trans, and Shatter. So they used a considerable amount of ultimates as well. But Pachimari Ninjas do have the 2 healing ults coming into this next engagement. 4 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, and as you see right here, Zappa
Ooh, I gotta interrupt you there. Fat Shatter coming in from Duckstage Dave allows Pachimari Ninjas to go ahead and clean up the path outside of the objective. That's going to be a hard reset for the side of Enigma as we see Pachimari Ninjas retake control of the point with 3 minutes 35 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, what I was gonna say there was Zappa, like it was a very potent rally, just trying to get inside the spawn, hold them back just to keep getting cart progress. But unfortunately, when your Reinhardt just pushes past every barrier, hits a shatter on 5 players like that, it's just there's not a whole lot you can do, especially in this GOATS meta.
Nope, that is definitely something that will shut down just about anything. As we see them work their way back into the objective, Enigma really trying to figure out how they are going to make this happen. It looks like they're going to take the roundabout route, go ahead and go up the stairs onto the bridge first, go for the engagement, and then try to take the payload into their control. As the boop comes down on the bridge, it looks like the other person who fell, I think it was Iron Wolf, ended up finding themselves on the platform just barely below. So nobody ended up falling. As the beat drop comes in from Iron Wolf, they're going to continue to hold on to this objective for now. As the flail comes out from Azara, ends up booping loser right over the edge with the DMAC right there. 2 minutes 25 seconds on the clock, and it looks like Enigma is going to have to pull off for a bit and regroup.
Yeah, and right there, you saw the boop. It didn't net any kills specifically because all it got was a Diva and a Lucio, both having recoverable abilities, but it singled out Rakudo, which allowed him to get ulted and just shut down.
And here comes the Graviton Diva Bomb, but it doesn't look like the Diva Bomb did much, except it did get Rakudo there in the end. They were able to take down the shield just enough, and it looks like we had a pause in the game. Iron Wolf, you want to tell us what happened? Because we weren't there. We don't know. We absolutely have no idea what happened during this match. So I would imagine there was some kind of DC that ended up happening. As we tell everybody, we're not. I was about ready to say we're not the Rose League. We are the Rose League. We're not the Overwatch League, and so we're not playing at the same place. You know, we are all playing on our own home internets, and connections aren't always reliable. Let's put it that way. So.
Fortunately, somebody was just connected to their local McDonald's that night, it seems.
Are you sure it wasn't Taco Bell? I feel like it'd be more Taco Bell if it's this late at night.
If it's Iron Wolf, I'm definitely pegging him as a Taco Bell.
Oh, shots fired, Iron Wolf. Shots fired right now. Goodness gracious. Well, as we go ahead and wait for them. Oh, it looks like we are back in the match right now. Giannis, after the pause, ends up taking down Iron Wolf there at the end as they go ahead and push them back to spawn. 1 minute, 50 seconds on the clock right now. Iron Wolf in the chat is like, toxic AF. Oh, Megalad. Oh.
I'm here for the toxic commentary.
Oh,
I'm here.
Toxic commentary. Goodness gracious. 1 minute, 35 seconds, and here comes Enigma back into the objective as the Shatter comes out from Duck Sage Dave. Doesn't seem to land on much of anything thanks to Rakudo's shield. The tackle comes in, ends up getting a boop, but will be unsuccessful over the edge. Zelros ends up taking down Rakudo, making that a 5v6 fight. They're going to go ahead and pull back once again as Zelros ends up taking down Tatiana, and they push them all the way back to spawn for the moment as we see them retreat back to spawn to regroup with the rest of their team with just about a minute on the clock. We may be seeing a very rare second point hold.
I mean, yes, indeed. And that fight for Enigma started off with Rakudo just throwing a Shatter into a shield. And unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do, but the action starting again.
Oh, boy. Let's get into it as they fight. Here comes the Diva Bomb out from Loser, but Iron Wolf able to get the boop onto Duck Sage Dave. Drex returning it onto Rakudo, so both Rhines being booped right over the edge as Zappa ends up taking down Drex. The payload moving furiously forward with only 30 seconds left on the clock as Tatiana, Iron Wolf, and Loser go ahead and clean up the objective. Duck Sage, Dave, and Drex waiting for the rest of the team to try to push in, trying to decide whether or not they're going to go ahead and let the payload be accepted or not, as Tatiana guarding the entrance right there. Going to end up being oh my goodness, 0.01 meters away. You cannot make this stuff up, folks. As we see Pachimari Ninjas trying to hold on to the objective, they will be unsuccessful in doing so, and they will go ahead and take objective number 2, giving them 1 minute, 20 seconds on the clock to take objective number 3. I think that's the first time this entire season, probably in Overwatch ever, I've seen a 0.01 hold.
Yeah, unfortunately, I see it a lot in my silver games, so it's not that crazy.
I probably see it more often than I'm willing to admit. I guess I'll say that as well. Loser ends up eating the Graviton coming out from Giannis, though, which is going to be huge as the Diva Bomb ends up getting caught on the wall, will be absorbed by Rakudo's shield as the Transcendence gets popped by Leoi, and Iron Wolf popping the beat drop as well. That's a double Shatter coming down as Iron Wolf and Tatiana go ahead and take down Introvert and Azar, respectively. 35 seconds on the clock as Zappa ends up clearing the objective of the rest of the tanks and starts moving the payload into objective number 3 with only 30 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, and right there, I mean, Enigma at least had to pay for it with a lot, if not all, ultimates.
And Loser going to come in with the Diva Bomb, ends up taking down Duck Sage Dave to start things off. 10 seconds on the clock. Leoi following up on Giannis as the Transcendence comes out for Introvert as well as Azar, popping the rally, trying to keep the team together as much as possible, but Rakudo and Leoi gonna take down Drex and Azar. The Shatter ends up coming out from Duck Sage Dave, but will be cleaned up by Zappa, just barely missing them. Leoi putting on the J. Jonak, getting the triple kill at the end, and Enigma in overtime will go ahead and take objective number 3.
And objective number 3, especially at the end of point 2 going into 3, Enigma played it beautifully. They just kept holding their W keys. Pachimari Ninjas didn't even get a second to really breathe or plan. It seems that whenever they're getting the chance to think about what they're doing, that's when Pachimari is succeeding and just absolutely dominating teams. But Enigma's taking the fight to them, not allowing them to do anything for any thought, rather. And they're just kind of, hey, we're in your face now.
And that's exactly how you want to be. I wouldn't expect anything other than that from our Diamond Division teams. As we go ahead and swap them up, we're going to see Pachimari Ninjas now going on to the attack here shortly as we try to see what they're going to come out with. I feel like we're going to continue to see this goats on goats, but as we've been seeing in other matches, I'm really hoping we'll eventually see some bunker, maybe some triple DPS. I'm honestly really surprised that this kind of goats on goats play is still being seen as valuable compared to all the different metas that have come out to try to cancel goats.
Well, the GOATS composition still at its core is the most powerful composition in Overwatch. It's just a matter of, do you have the teamwork, the synergy with your teammates in order to pull it off? A bunker comp here, while it is very effective, if you lose that point A, you're forced to switch and you're just behind on ults the rest of the map, and it's very hard to come back from a snowball like that.
I can understand that. Well, let's go ahead and see if they can make it happen. Pachimari Ninjas moving their way into the choke point. Rakudo sending in the fire strike, ends up getting a couple of hits to charge up that shatter. As it's coming in, they're meeting at the choke point. Hammers and flails and bubbles galore. Tatiana able to get the first kill onto Introvert, though, making it already a 5v6 fight. As we see Ducksage Dave essentially just flailing, just getting caught a little bit off guard as Rakudo gets the tackle on Iannis, as well as taking down Azar. Tatiana's going to follow up on Ducksage Dave and go ahead and push them back to spawn with 3 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock.
And once again, you see Enigma using this advantage of just holding W key. Pachimari Ninjas, they don't have the reaction time to do anything in the heat of the moment.
And that's something that's pretty interesting when you have this 10-0 team. You would think that, Shatter ends up coming in, but ends up getting absorbed due to Ducksage Dave's shield. The tackle comes in as Ducksage Dave ends up taking down Tatiana. Rakudo not able to get a follow-up on that tackle as Azar, Zelaros, and Ducksage Dave end up clearing the objective. Introvert getting the final kill onto Iron Wolf, and it looks like Pachimari Ninjas are going to go ahead and take objective number 1 with about 2 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. That's going to give them 5 minutes to push into objective number 2.
Of course, you see the friendly little highs and hellos exchanged here as Tatiana is just unfortunately forced to sit out and kind of just wait. That's unfortunately the waiting game. Once you lose these points, it's just, oh, hey, we got to push the payload. You got to wait for your team. We're all here.
Yep, and one of the things that we saw recently, we actually saw a hold on this objective. Actually, let me interrupt that. Zappa getting the triple kill within that Graviton that got popped by Tatiana, along with the D-Mech onto Zelaros. Iron Wolf going to follow up on Azar as Zelaros goes for that hard reset. That is going to be a quick cleanup of that objective with 4 minutes, 10 seconds on the clock. As I was saying, something that we forget about is the 10-second hold right here at the doorway, because that door does take quite a bit to come up. I mean, it is Eichenwald. Everything's a little old and rusty, and so taking that into account has literally turned the tides of some of the battles that we've seen. Oh, Fat Shatter ends up coming out from Rakudo right there. Ends up getting 3, but not a lot of follow-up. Ioli able to take down Ducksage Dave as the Graviton comes out from Iannis. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to get a lot of follow-up on it as Leoi ends up popping the Transcendence. Tatiana able to get the D-Mech onto Zelaros, might even follow up with the kill. Does look like it will end up being unsuccessful. Azar ends up getting a double onto Iron Wolf and Rakudo as the Graviton now coming out in return from Tatiana just so that they can get away from the objective. We're going to see a D-Mech right there by Duckstage Dave onto Loser as Azar goes ahead and takes Loser out of the fight. That's going to be 3 minutes now remaining on the objective as they go ahead and start pushing that payload to the bridge choke point.
And that's the point where the aggression is just a little bit overhanded. Enigma was just in too far, and unfortunately a Brigitte, once she clicks that rally, you might as well run. There's just not a lot you can do as any type of player.
Well, let's hope that returns the favor. Shatter coming out from Duckstage Dave with the Diva Bomb in the backline. Ends up getting absorbed, but the shield is down, and now the Graviton back out from Giannis as Iron Wolf ends up getting the boop onto Introvert. Tatiana taking down Azar. That's the thing about Gravitons, folks, is that they don't prevent people from shooting or hitting back. And it looks like that will end up allowing Enigma to be successful and actually not find any of their players at the bottom of the bridge choke with 2 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock.
And it's just a beautiful transcendence there from Leoi. I mean, whenever a Graviton does come out, especially in this GOATS meta, if you have trans, there's just not a whole lot to be done about it. There's not enough damage to work through the healing that Zenyatta can put out. And as the defender, you can just kind of be like, okay, we'll sit here, we'll just swing at you since you're close enough.
Pretty much. They're already fighting as they move their way back into the objective. The Graviton comes out for Tatiana as the Diva Bomb gets exchanged as well. Doesn't end up getting a kill, but Zelaros will end up finding themselves D-Mech by Tatiana as Ducksage Dave follows up on Rakudo. Is essentially a 5v5.5 fight right now. Make that 5v5 now as Introvert ends up getting the D-Mech onto Loser. The boop onto Zappa over the edge by Drex during the middle of the rally. Not a good position to be in. Iron Wolf able to get Ducksage Dave, but also Leoi going to be followed up on by Drex. Tatiana and Giannis taking down their respective counter Lucios right there as they get ready to move in on the objective with just about a minute on the clock. The Graviton gonna hold them in place as Pachimari Ninjas grabs objective number 2. Excuse me. They're gonna clean up on that Graviton. Azar with the quintuple kill right there, touching just about everyone in that Graviton. That's going to go ahead and allow them to push in to objective number 3 with 2 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, and as you saw, Azar just kind of swung into the grab, and that's just so much healing and so much rally charge. As you see, he is using the rally right now just to kind of scare off the other team. It's just, Brigitte is a very powerful character, obviously. I don't think that really needs to be said.
I really wish I knew how to make that work myself, but the Graviton going to come out from Tatiana, but the trans from Introvert going to cancel out any damage. We're going to see the trans in response by Leoli, as well as the B-drop. Shatter coming in from Ducksage Dave, ends up getting 3 as the Diva Bomb gets dropped by Zelaros. Will not end up getting anyone as Giannis and Introvert follow up on Tatiana and Rakudo. It's a 4v6 fight on the objective right now. 1 minute, 30 seconds on the clock, and it looks like it is going in favor of the Pachimari Ninjas, but remember, Enigma does have the spawn advantage right here. If they can get back out, Azar ends up taking down Rakudo with the flail as Ducksage Dave follows up on Tatiana, coming out as the Doomfist. We now see the Hammond coming out for Leoi. Just about everyone has swapped off of their respective roles as Drex ends up getting the punch kill onto Leoi. The Graviton comes out for Giannis, looking to grab anyone at all possible as Ducksage Dave ends up getting the double. Zappa swapping over to the Moira as Ducksage Dave takes down Tatiana. Once again, Diva Bomb coming down for Loser, trying to get something as the Transcendence comes out for Introvert, and the shield allows Ducksage Dave to absorb that damage. Once again, we're going to see the Hammond come out 1.42 meters on the objective right now. 40 seconds on the clock as they continue to fight. The Diva Bomb coming out for Zelaros, ends up taking down Rakudo. The only one left near the objective is Tatiana. Now Zappa coming out on the May, gets punched by Drex. The Diva Loser ends up getting shot off the objective and demeched, and that is going to be a completion of round number 2, making it 3-3. And going into a round 3 and 4 as both teams get an extra minute on the clock.
And if you're Enigma there, well, it is unfortunate that, shout out to your voice, by the way, but
thank you.
If you're Enigma, you'll take that because there was pretty much a minute 30 left on the clock once the fight had decisively been won for Pachimari, but because of your stall, you got them below a minute, which gives you a second chance, at least a chance to put your fate back in your own hands rather than it's all on Pachimari.
Exactly. If they wouldn't have gotten it below that minute, they would have ended up only being able to hold a defense for a first tick on the objective. So now they actually get, since they have the lower time bank, they have a chance once again to attack against Pachimari Ninjas. And if I remember correctly, both these teams got their respective first points fairly early on. I think it was Enigma, though, that ended up pushing further than Pachimari Ninjas during the payload section. After that, they were able to get it fairly further before they got pushed off of the payload.
Yes, indeed. And pretty much Enigma here, their best bet is to just hold that W key, hope that Pachimari's holding passive, and just lets them through the choke yet again, because then they can take that defensive positioning on the cart and force Pachimari to them.
Well, once again, we're going to see this goats on goats action. Still not seeing any Ana, which is kind of surprising. That's one thing that we've been seeing through a couple of the matches lately, is those anti-nades. Really cancels out a majority of the healing that we see coming out, as Drex already getting the first pick onto Zappa, but Tatiana ends up taking down Introvert in return, so it's an equal 5v5 fight on the objective. 3 tanks, 2 healers right now. 20 seconds on the clock as they're trying to fight their way onto the point, but Pachimari Ninjas is not allowing Enigma to even touch, to be able to get past all this junk that is in their way right now. 10 seconds on the clock as the barrier ends up coming down. Zappa able to get the kill onto Duck Sage Dave as Zelaros eats the Graviton from Tatiana, but I don't think it's going to be enough because Tatiana is supercharged right now. Introvert ends up taking down Rakudo as Zappa follows up on Introvert, and the beat drop comes in from Iron Wolf. Overtime ticking away right now as Iron Wolf ends up taking down Iannis, and the only ones left on the objective right now are Drex, Duck Sage Dave, and Zelaros, as we end up seeing Zelaros getting demeched here shortly. Tatiana going to take down Duck Sage Dave as well as Azar. The only one left is Zelaros. There comes the demech right there and the cleanup from Rakudo, and that's going to go ahead and grab the objective in their favor. And remember, it's overtime now, so the longer that they continue to push, the further that they can get it, but the shorter time frame that's going to come after that, if they get off the payload for even just a second at this point, they're going to end up losing it.
Yeah, that's the risk of the overtime push, but at this point, you're living on borrowed time anyway, so you do have somebody on the point in the sea!
What? What? No way!
If I had to guess, I'm going to guess that because you don't actually have to have somebody on the cart to keep the overtime wick burning when that gate is opening, so I'm guessing while the gate opened, they all pushed forward, and unfortunately, just whoever was supposed to go back didn't. And,
yeah, it doesn't look like it was even at the gate yet. So
you do see the gate open though, so I'm going
Oh,
to
okay.
guess.
I
could be wrong, but
No,
that's just my best guess.
I can concur with that. So yeah, interesting. I actually didn't know that you could step off of it while the gate was opening in overtime. So that's something new I've learned. But yeah, as you said, obviously someone did not return to the cart right there. So that borrowed time that they had, they have now essentially wasted because they were not able.
They did cap the point.
They did cap the point. They did give themselves that advantage. But if they lose the objective, they have quite a fight, because the spawn advantage is then in the favor of Pachimari Ninjas. They were able to run out the entire time bank before they ended up taking the objective. So unless Enigma has got a riddle in their back pocket that is really going to stump Pachimari Ninjas, I'm going to have a hard time seeing which one of these teams are going to come out here at the end.
I think the biggest thing is just going to be the aggression. Enigma has to not let Pachimari set up, do their set plays. I think Enigma has to meet them on the battlefield.
All right, well, let's see if they can make it happen. We already got Duck Sage Dave getting incredibly aggressive right now. Rakudo seeming to be incredibly passive as they continue to defend, moving slowly back towards the objective right now. Both shields getting ready to fall for both Reinhardts as they use the environment now to their advantage. It's going to be who comes up with the ultimate first, and it's Leoi. It looks like they already have the Transcendence online. Now Introvert and Azar with the rally and Trans. We're going to see The Trans and the Rally end up getting popped right there as Duck Stage Dave with the Shatter ends up getting 2, but not a lot of follow-up as the Graviton now coming out from Ionis. Now we're going to see the Trans from Introvert. Leoi able to take down Drex, going to be the first kill that ends up coming in. It's a 5v6 fight on the objective. 20 seconds on the clock right now as Loser ends up taking down Duck Stage Dave. The Graviton now out from Tatiana as Zeppa and Leoi end up taking down Azar and Ionis. 10 seconds on the clock as Zelros, the only one left, is going to get incredibly staggered. Drex coming in on the Lucio, just trying to touch point so that overtime can tick away as it now goes into overtime. We have got to see them get back to the point because Iron Wolf's going to take down both Drex and, wow, Enigma going to be able to hold objective number 1 cleanly and clearly, and that's going to make it 1-1 going into the half.
Yeah, as I said, Enigma just needed to not try to buckle in, not let Pachimari do what they wanted to, and they did just that. Enigma brought the fight to them, were able to build their ult significantly faster. Leoi had, I believe, like a 45-second trans time charge there. Like, it was pretty insane.
It was pretty nuts right there. First ultimate that ended up being online during that entire fight right there, and really ended up, saving the day. So we see now Pachimari Ninjas and Enigma tied up. Like I said, folks, just because this was recorded ahead of time and we know how it ends doesn't mean that it's not going to be nearly as exciting or as unexciting as you may believe, because this is like I'm sweating like I would be during a regular match right now, because these two are obviously well matched against one another. You know, Pachimari Ninjas were able to take the control point, and then we see Enigma go ahead and turn it on its head onto Hybrid, which is not something that we see very often. So going into the halftime right now with both teams at 1-1, how would you expect this next map to turn out?
I mean, it just kind of depends on which map they go to. If they go to the standard scrims row, then you're just going to have to... It all comes down to Enigma's play. If they allow Pachimari Ninjas to set up, play their game, then it's over. Pachimari Ninjas beats them in that regard. Enigma gets the advantage. While they may not be as mechanically skilled, they're definitely up there, but if they just allow Pachimari Ninjas to do as they please, then Enigma loses all control of every single fight.
Well, we will definitely see how that goes down. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the Rose League. We are currently in the middle of the Season 2 playoffs right now. You're watching the quarterfinals between Pachimari Ninjas and Enigma. Go ahead and pop that follow at the top of our stream to know every time that we are online, usually Monday through Saturday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that you can catch the rest of the action that will be going on this weekend during the finals. But now we're going to take our 5-minute break, so we'll see you all in about 5 more minutes with more Rose League action.
hit you back and now you overreacting. Hate that shit with a passion. Yeah. Have a little self-respect, don't wanna put you on blast, but you should go ahead and practice. Shut the fuck up right now and let me breathe. Shut the fuck up right now, let me do my thing. Slow down, slow down, slow down. Quit hitting my phone up, quit hitting my phone up, quit hitting my phone. Slow down. I ain't hit you back, now you overreacting. I don't play that elastic. You be like, when we gon' fuck, what we gon' do? You should try and quit asking.
From my back on the phone, ain't been famous for a while, but I'm still up in my zone. And I don't usually smoke, but I'm high on sativa. It's G-word in my tea, I smell like heaven, I'm a diva. And I leave it so loud on my speaker that I cannot hear you know where I'm gone. Don't you be blowing up my phone, I'm in a different time zone. Ever since the matter of time, my girl's better than I. Oh, the band is the break, you have, but you still don't know how to handle your mind. That's probably why you hate me more. Yeah, I got a broke, cause I'm trying to afford it. Still, I'm the young and don't fuck them no more, cause they just fall in love if you fuck them before. Don't make me wrong, I really like it when we're riding. When I'm in another city, shh, be quiet.
Calling my phone, bitch, they got me gotta go home, bitch. Play about all of my phone, bitch. Those numbers equal my phone, shit. Just they got it. From city, she still on it. Switch with 20, she saw it. Speak to my ass, and they watch on, they feel like one, she got it. She come back.
Yeah, let's say 49-10.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back from the halftime. We are back once again here at the Rose League with the quarterfinals between Pachimari Ninjas and Enigma. I'm your play-by-play for the evening, Captain Jack, with Megalad on the color roll tonight. Megalad, why don't you go ahead and sum up what we saw in the first half?
What we saw was goats, possibly some more goats, and you wouldn't believe it, a barnyard animal that eats tin cans.
Was it a goat?
But we did see a lot of aggressive play from Enigma, which I did enjoy because it did throw Pachimari Ninjas off their game. That's something they may have recalibrated here at the half, obviously, but you know, time will tell. Time will tell.
Well, it looks like we're gonna go from that barnyard animal to more of a devil style of play, as we see Azar coming out on the May. So we're gonna see more so a Snoats composition here on Hanamura, the assault map. For the side of Enigma, though, we're going to see Loser go away from the Goats composition and come out on the Sombra. So they're looking to possibly use the hacks to their advantage to try to defeat this Goats composition, as they're already pushing in. Azar picking off Loser early on in that fight. Must have saw the translocator go through the window, because that was a quick pick right there. And they're going to go ahead and push them all the way back. Nope, not all the way back, but it looks like they're already back at the fight. Loser finding a way to get past the May and will be successful. Nobody knows they are on the objective. Here comes the hack in onto Duck Stage Dave, but the Transcendence going to keep everyone going as we see Rakudo end up getting frozen by Azar. Zelaros ends up getting taken down by Thotiana, though, as they continue to move into objective number 1. Here comes the Shatter out from Rakudo as Azar ends up taking down Thotiana in return. Duck Stage Dave also bringing down the Shatter. Doesn't seem to get a lot of follow-up, though, as the Blizzard gets popped by Azar already. They're going to start cleaning up the objective, taking down Zappa, Iron Wolf, and Rakudo, and that is going to be a complete cleanup as we now see Leoi end up falling. They did manage to get at least 1 tick on the objective, though, so 2 minutes 25 seconds to see if they can continue to get more.
Hey, do that 3 times, you've got an objective. But unfortunately, with the May composition there, the Sombra is not going to be able to get as much utility as we hit right back to the action.
Oh man, we see the May wall go up, ends up separating out Zappa and Loser as Azar and Zelaros end up taking them out of the fight already. 2 minutes on the clock as Rakudo gets getting cornered right there. Iron Wolf trying to save the day, but will end up being unsuccessful as Giannis takes Rakudo's life. 1 minute 50 seconds on the clock right now as they go ahead and reset up in the spawn. It looks like Thotiana, knowing Duck Stage Dave is there, not looking to oh, that's the bad one. That's a little cocky right there as Zappa ends up taking down Duck Stage Dave, who was looking to do a cheeky tackle. The EMP comes out from Loser, ends up getting the double as the rally gets popped by Zappa. There comes the cleanup from Thotiana, taking down Azar, Giannis, and Drex by Loser. They're going to go ahead and clear the objective of all Pachimari ninjas and go ahead and secure Objective Alpha as they go on to Objective Bravo with 5 minutes, 5 seconds on the clock.
And unfortunately that's just one of those things where if Duck Sage Dave had gotten that Shatter off, he would have been a hero among men. Unfortunately, he did get spotted out, so it just snowballed into a fight where there was no hope.
See, I didn't know if they were going for the Shatter or if he was just looking to do a cheeky tackle on Rakudo there. That was the thing I wasn't for sure of, but the attack already going down on the objective. This is, as you remember, this is pre the recent changes to Assault as Duck Stage Dave ends up taking down Zappa. Zappa able to get Azar right beforehand, and Rakudo ends up tackling Drex right over the side, but ends up taking their own life as well as Zelaros follows up on Iron Wolf. That is going to be a point hold for the Pachimari Ninjas without a tick to be had. 4 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, and unfortunately, without EMP on the side of Enigma, it's pretty much just a matter of lose each fight. Try to get as many ults out of the Pachimari Ninjas as you can, because that May just, there's so much crowd control she has with that wall. If it's placed right, it's a guaranteed win fight every time, regardless of ults or anything else.
I completely concur with that. 3 minutes, 50 seconds on the clock as the Graviton comes out from Zelaros, but it's not close enough. Doesn't end up absorbing anyone into it as Zappa ends up popping out the rally. They go on to the objective. Half of a tick already taken as Iron Wolf takes down Azar. Here comes the here comes the trans. Double trans is coming out. The Transcendi from Introvert and Leoi as the EMP. It's a 5-man EMP on the objective. Leoi pulling out the Jonak once again, getting the double as Thotiana follows up on Giannis. It's a 6v5 fight. Make that 6 or 5v3 rather on the objective right now as they take Rakudo out of the fight. Azar ends up getting flailed by Zappa as they're looking to get that first tick. Zelaros coming in, incredibly charged as a Shatter comes down from Duck Stage Dave with a double fire strike. I don't know how they were able to pull off that save, but they will end up doing so as Duck Stage Dave gets the tackle onto Iron Wolf, pushing them off the objective with 2 minutes 50 seconds on the clock.
Clutch defenses and 2 CP, name a more iconic duo. It's just as simple as that. You have to get such a clean fight as the attacker. Make sure it's the 6K. Otherwise, you're going to have to deal with respawns, especially when you're respawning with a Shatter like that. Unfortunately, there's just not a lot you can do as the attacker other than hope you get the 6K limb. And there we see a wall again as the action starts back up.
All right, well, it looks like Loser has given up on the Sombra and has swapped back over to the Diva for this fight. So we got Goats v Snoats once again. 2 minutes, 10 seconds on the clock as they're looking to move into the objective. Some of the members of Enigma getting booped off by Drex right there as Introvert gets the pick onto Rakudo. They end up putting up the May wall, will be unsuccessful getting anyone to on that side of the wall as Zelaros ends up taking down Iron Wolf, trying to escape. It looks like we have Azar pushing incredibly far forward, trying to get some additional picks, but will get taken down by Leody as Zappa ends up taking down Duck Stage Dave. Rakudo and Duck Stage both have their Shatters online. Zelaros and Tatiana both having their Gravitons online, and Introvert and Leoe both having their Transcendi online. The only difference is Azar has a Blizzard. So this is going to be an incredibly interesting fight, and here it comes, double Graviton, but one has a Blizzard on it. The Transcendence gets popped by both Introvert and Leoe, trying to keep both teams up as they move into the objective. 1 minute, 10 seconds on the clock. Giannis and Zelaros able to take down Iron Wolf and Rakudo right there. It's a 4v6 fight on the objective right now. The only one left seems to be Zappa and will get taken down by Zelaros. All those ultimates spent and not a single tick to be had with a minute left on the clock.
Yeah, and that's one of the things is Loser's switch to the Diva is actually a lot better than the Sombra here, just because you do have that utility now. You can avoid the May walls, but unfortunately in that fight, as you saw, the defense matrix doesn't do a whole lot when you're unfortunately caught out of position and you're just forced to stay away from your team. So the Blizzard just comes in, the Grav comes in, and it's just over.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. The May wall ends up separating out the team as the rally ends up getting popped by Zappa. Azar ends up taking down Tatiana, but Zappa going to follow up on Giannis as Duck Stage Dave uses the Fire Strike to take down Rakudo. Leoe following up on Introvert in classic Jonak style as Duck Stage Dave gets the tackle onto Iron Wolf. Is a 3v4 rather on the objective as the beat drop comes in from Drex. We're now going to see Tatiana on the Hammond trying to get back to the objective soon enough as another Blizzard and Graviton get dropped by Azar and Zelaros, allowing them to clean up Zappa and Tatiana. The Transcendence gets popped by Introvert as Duck Sage Dave and Zelaros take down Leoe and Rakudo. Overtime ticking away right now. The only one left near the objective right now is Loser, and they're going to end up getting demeched as overtime continues to tick away. Azar's going to go ahead and take Loser's life, but just barely. Tatiana able to touch the objective, not going to be able to do much as Drex ends up getting the punch kill. The only one left is Zappa, ends up touching as the May wall goes up, but it's not good enough as Pachimari Ninjas do a complete hold on objective number 2.
And right there, Azar just needs to be praised by his team. The feet need to be kissed. It's just that simple. Beautiful walls, each and every wall, getting somebody zoned off, or at least forcing a fight to occur a different way. And that's the power that May has. You know, it may not be a flashy DPS with headshots everywhere, but with between her wall, her ice block, and of course the powerful ultimate of Blizzard, she is just a zoning machine, and there's just not a whole lot you can do to counter that outside of focus her down.
See, I almost have to disagree with that, though, because as quickly as we kept seeing Azar getting those ultimates, if you know, with that secondary fire, it's almost just as deadly as just about any sniper shot in the game. And based on the fact that Azar had a Blizzard just about every fight, if not every other fight, shows how much damage Azar was putting out. But it looks like they're going to end up swapping over to the Brig. Excuse me, for this fight. Looks like they're going to go the traditional Goats route for this one, depending on what Introvert decides they're going to end up picking. I would guess it's
This is where Introvert
Zenyatta.
picks Doomfist.
Yeah, right? Just something completely random and out of the ordinary. I was thinking more Bastion, actually, or Symmetra. Well, Symmetra is not so bad on first point.
Bastion, Brig, Lucio. I mean, that sounds like something I'd see in my
totally. There we go. There comes the dedicated Transcendence Omnic right there. They're going to go ahead and move into, again, a Goats composition. It's Goats on Goats. Enigma was able to show off that they could outsmart Goats during the match on Eichenwald. Let's see if they can do the same here on Hanamura as they're holding the choke. Hammers, rockets, bullets galore, flails flailing, everything going in each direction as Rakudo ends up getting Duck Stage Dave at the beginning of the fight. That's going to go ahead and push them all the way back to spawn and run 30 seconds off the clock for the side of the Pachimari Ninjas.
Not only run 30 seconds off the clock, if you look at the ult charge, we almost have a break go online for Zappa and I cannot say it at all. Leoli, there we go, has 80% to his trans already. I mean, just the amount of ult charge that was handed over there just because a Rhine died. Think about that.
That is absolutely huge. And because of that Rhine dying, they didn't have any shield to protect any of the damage going anywhere else, because that defense matrix only lasts for so long as they go back into the fight. Once again, Duck Stage Dave getting incredibly impatient right there, trying to get that hammer in. There it comes! And it looks like impatience will end up paying off as they're able to get the shatter, end up taking down Rakudo as Introvert follows up onto Iron Wolf. The Gravitons and Trident Sendai end up coming out during that fight. 2 minutes 30 seconds on the clock right now as Zappa seeing themselves incredibly low right now. The tackle comes in from Duck Stage Dave, taking Zappa out of the fight. First tick for the side of Pachimari Ninjas, and it looks like with that cleanup, they're going to go ahead and take Objective Alpha, giving them 6 minutes, 15 seconds on the clock to take Objective Bravo.
And unfortunately for Tatiana, that is a grab you're going to want back. You thought you could hero play at the 4v6. Unfortunately, Introvert on the other side had the trans up, and it just, all of that damage you could have done got countered. And so now you're moving into a fight where you don't have a Graviton.
Yeah, but Tatiana is already over halfway to another one, which is incredibly impressive for Azaria. 5 minutes, 50 seconds on the clock as they move into Objective number 2. We already see them on the point as the shatter comes in, takes down Drex. Diva Bomb goes to the back line but shoots too far. Loser popping out the Diva Bomb, as well as Iron Wolf and Azar and Drex all pop their healing ultimates. One Graviton and Introvert already popping the trans as well. Leoi popping out the Transcendence to counter the Transcendence, and the damage coming in as Giannis ends up taking down Tatiana, who gets separated away from the team. We're going to see Introvert take down Rakudo as Duck Stage Dave gets the tackle onto Iron Wolf and the hammer onto Leoi. Zappa also falling to Duck Stage Dave on the objective, and Pachimari Ninjas looking to do the reverse of what they did on the defense right there. All they need is a tick, and they will be successful. Pachimari Ninjas now 2-1 in the series against Enigma here on Hanamura.
Yeah, and right there, I mean, that was just a matter of, as we see, Zelaros gets a well-earned play of the game here. But yeah, like I was trying to say before I cut myself off, the Pachimari Ninjas, they just knew they had a huge advantage pressed into that fight. While yes, Tatiana was building up towards another Graviton, the ults were online to counter it, and they were able to just hold W, and it worked out.
And that's exactly what you needed to do. This is obviously before patch, so you still have that stagger going into the second objective during these matches, which I feel has kind of been fixed with this patch, but it almost seems odd because Blizzard was just all about, hey, we don't want to see second point taken. And it's like, well, yeah, that's the whole point of the game. like, what do you want them to do?
Now it's 2 CP versus 8 CP of round.
Oh,
round
yeah,
round, I guess.
I guess that makes sense then. I can understand that logic right there. So now, exactly, we still see some snowballing here and there, but Pachimari Ninjas taking Hanamura in their favor, now making it 2-1. Dorado looks like will be our next map, the escort map chosen by Enigma. So I would imagine that they have their calculators calculating to try to figure out how they're going to hold an exceptional attack and defense against the Pachimari Ninjas. We saw them do incredibly well with this on Eichenwald. They were able to hold an incredible defense on objective number 1, but for the escort, this is a complete payload-only map. So it's going to be all payload all the time, the entire time. So I guess the question is going to be, what do you think that we will end up seeing here, Megalad?
Here on Dorado, it's very interesting because while yes, the GOAT's play is still optimal, you do have the high grounds that populate each and every point. So if you want to try to get cheeky with a Pharah, that option's always there. But I feel like Enigma here was more of like, okay, they can't May off everything here. So we definitely have a chance.
I mean, they could sure try. They could sure try.
There's a few chokes here or there, but there might be ways around it.
No, and there absolutely is. One of the most popular compositions to do on this map is actually Snoats. As we zoom in on the Presidente right there, actually in that very first room. If you're able to hold a good Snoats composition, you can continue to May Wall and May Icicle that entrance point and essentially keep the enemy team from pushing the payload any further than I believe it's just like 10 meters. But to do that, you have to be incredibly well coordinated. There has to be a lot of healing in that room with the addition of Baptiste to the healer roles. That does help bunker out in that sense very well. But the easiest way to counter that is either a Bastion or a Junkrat. Like, you just throw damage into that room, damage on damage on damage on damage, and eventually you'll end up finding your way out. It doesn't look like we're going to end up seeing that as we see both teams going. Well, it looks like we've got Goats versus Dotes again, with Rakudo and Loser on the Winston Diva composition, with Tatiana still on the Zarya. So they're looking to do that dive as Rakudo moves their way onto the high ground, ends up getting a little charge into that as we see Drex getting the Discord Orb right there. The payload moving furiously forward as we see the exchange between Rakudo and Loser right now, just kind of swapping damage back and forth on the Pachimari Ninjas, just trying to push them back ever so slightly. And now Ducksage Dave and the rest of the Pachimari Ninjas are set up past the choke as the damage just kind of raining down from above on top of them. They are able to out-heal. Rakudo coming up on the ultimate very shortly here will probably be the first one with that primal as they go ahead and move their way in from the high ground. 3 minutes now on the clock. Rakudo jumping into the action. Here comes the primal, looking to do some damage. It's bopping everybody around right now. The team is separated as we see the stun. Iron Wolf is able to take down Duckstage Dave in the back line right there as the team was incredibly separated due to that primal that get popped out. And Zeppa and Leoli gonna clean up their counterparts on the side of Pachimari Ninjas and go ahead and start pushing the rest of the team all the way back to spawn as the payload makes its way towards objective number 1 with 2 minutes 30 seconds on the clock.
And Enigma plays that just beautifully with the Rakudo on the Winston. Pretty much, you know you're not going to win that 1v1 straight up fight. Oh my goodness, I'm getting caught up by more actions.
That's they came back in, and that was something that was not expected right there as Zelaros coming out with the Diva Bomb. Trans and Rally from Azar and Introvert end up trying to hold the objective in place, or at least take some more time off the clock. 3.79 meters right now on the objective. Not a single death to be had just yet. Primal coming out once again for Rakudo as we see an exchange between Zelaros and Loser in the sky right now. Rakudo almost finding the end of life as Tatiana ends up demeching Zelaros, and Ducksage Dave falls to Loser. 2.76 meters as Rakudo ends up getting the kill on Azar and Iannis with the help of Tatiana. Iannis able to take down Tatiana in exchange though, so both Zaryas essentially killing one another on the objective. 1 minute 30 seconds on the clock as Iron Wolf takes down Introvert. Zelaros the only one left on the objective now. Ducksage Dave barely able to touch the point. 1.99 meters as Iron Wolf takes them out and grabs objective 1 with now 3 minutes 45 seconds on the clock.
Pachimari does stall that out quite a bit, so props to them. But like I was saying, Enigma played the Winston comp beautifully. The Winston variant of the GOAT's composition, you're not going to win in a Rhine. In the straight-up head-to-head ground war with the swinging of the hammer, Rhine just deals so much damage. But Rakudo played it beautifully, just teasing the high ground, keeping the team pushed back, and overall just keeping the entire team zoned while the Enigma team got into position to do what they had to do.
And that's the beautiful, and that it requires an incredible amount of coordination between both Loser and Rakudo, because it was just a constant swap back and forth. That's exactly what you want from your dive. As we're seeing right now, the entire team on the high ground, Zelaros trying to get them off, but will end up being unsuccessful, sort of. Lioli, the only one left on the high ground right now, just raining balls from above as Zappa ends up getting the kill on Azar. Here comes the trans from Introvert into the Graviton of Tatiana, going to end up getting canceled out. 2 minutes 40 seconds on the clock right now as we see Zelaros taking over the high ground, trying to take down Lioli, as Rakudo popping out the Primal, ends up taking down both Introvert and Duck Sage Dave, as Tatiana cleaning up on Zelaros and Iannis right there, as well as Azar. That's going to go ahead and allow the payload to push ever more forward as Tatiana gets the final kill onto Drex, moving into Objective 2 with 2 minutes, 10 seconds on the clock.
And for the entire fight, Zelaros doesn't even attempt to contest Lioli up on the high ground. I mean, he's the only one on their team that currently can, outside of some amazing Lucio wall rides. So Lioli just able to rain down damage from above, and that is not something you ever want to see from a Zenyatta.
Nope, it is not. 1.86 meters right now with a minute 50 on the clock. Loser eating the Graviton of Ionis once again as the beat drop. Both Diva Bombs going out right now. Loser able to take down Duck Sage Dave. Excuse me, who was swapped over to the Winston as well. Introvert able to take down Lioli for the first time the entire match as Azar follows up onto Tatiana, but Rakudo able to take down Introvert in return. It's a 4v4 fight on the objective right now. Rally gets popped out by Azar and ends up finishing up as the Primal comes out for Rakudo once again. Fourth one this game as Duck Sage Dave ends up taking down Zappa, coming back into the fight. And it looks like we're going to end up seeing Enigma pull off the objective with just about 1.8 meters left to get into objective number 2, and now only a minute on the clock.
Yeah, and now you see the Winston composition match on either side because Enigma's been playing this so beautifully where they don't take the 1v1, the straight up fight in between the two teams. Duck Sage Dave just has to try to meet Rakudo up on the high ground to stop letting him zone and pressure his team in a bunch of different ways that he doesn't want.
It might be possible. Here comes the Graviton Diva Bomb in from Iannis and Zelaros, but will be unsuccessful as Introvert goes ahead and takes down Lioli. 30 seconds on the clock right now as Introvert following up on Zappa. Drex able to get the kill on Tatiana as Introvert following up on Rakudo. Once again, we may be looking at a rare second point hold once again with 20 seconds left on the clock. Enigma, this is their final chance, wink wink, nudge nudge, to try to take this objective without setting themselves up for possible failure and get into a map 5 to try to take this away. 3 seconds on the clock right now. The Transcendence and Beat Drop come in for Lioli and Iron Wolf. They're on the objective. Overtime ticking away right now as we see them fight in. Here comes Introvert with the Transcendence. Drex also holding on to that B drop as needed, as we see Rakudo coming in as the Ryan gets taken down by Zelaros and a majority of the Pachimari Ninjas as the rally ends up getting popped by Zappa, trying to keep the dream alive. The Diva Bomb coming up for Loser, looking to get a kill as Iron Wolf ends up taking down Duck Sage Dave. Here comes the Graviton and the beat drop in from Drex and Tatiana, looking to do some cleanup, but the healing was too much. Now Graviton out for Iannis as Drex ends up taking down Zappa. Tatiana and Introvert able to exchange kills on one another as Zelaros getting the Diva Bomb onto Tatiana as Azar pops out the rally. Overtime going to tick away, and that is going to be a second point hold for the Pachimari Ninjas.
And that Diva Bomb at the end, very crucial, because while the Transcendence was going on, it stopped a lot of the damage coming in from the Graviton. Transcendence does not make anyone besides Zenyatta immortal, so that Diva Bomb damage still comes through a powerful, I believe, 1,000 damage if you're right next to it. And unfortunately, when you don't have any bubbles as your Zarya, you're going down, you lose your primary source of damage, and the fight's pretty much over.
Well, it looks like Enigma has got quite a fight ahead of them right now. Essentially, the only chance they have is to do one of two things: either hold a first point hold, which we've totally seen before, or we're going to end up seeing a second point hold, as we just did by the Pachimari Ninjas, but just a tiny bit better. So, and literally, that's all it's got to be, just a tiny bit better. So,
And that's
we will.
the game of Overwatch,
That-
the game
that-
of inches.
It's the game of like centimeters at this point. Goodness gracious, it definitely could end up happening. It looks like we're going to see once again this Goats v Dotes composition with Ducksage Dave gonna be coming out on the Winston. So they're looking to try to mimic what they saw from Enigma, but I'm not for certain if the Pachimari Ninjas will be as ready for this fight as they think they will be. What do you think there, lad?
I think, unfortunately, Ducksage Dave, he's going to try his best, same with Zelaros, to mimic that dive composition of just holding off the objective. However, it was just a matter of they played poorly into it, so as long as the Rhine on the side of Enigma, aka Rakudo, can just play better, aka run to the cart, is pretty much what you want to do. You don't ever want to just leave yourself off of objective and not be able to do anything as in that type of composition.
All right, well, right now they're just holding the high ground, very similar to what we saw during the first round with the Pachimari Ninjas, and it looks like Rakudo using the environment to their advantage, going to go ahead and move their way around. It looks like Ducksage Dave has swapped over to the Rhine as well, got the Discord and heal orbs on them from either Zenyatta as they go ahead and try to push through the choke. 3 minutes, 20 seconds on the clock right now. Rakudo just essentially trying to swing through the payload and hit anything that it might come in contact with as we see them boop over and over. Rakudo ends up getting the kill onto Ducksage Dave as Giannis follows up on Zappa, so it's a 5v5 fight right now, and a supercharged Giannis just seems to be cutting through everything like butter. Leoi coming out with the trans as well as the beat drop from Iron Wolf, just trying to keep all of that damage at bay for as long as possible. But when you're using two life-saving ults at once, and now comes the rally from Azar, it may be unfortunate. Now a beat drop from Drex, and the shatter ends up coming in from Rakudo as the Graviton goes down. Not a lot of follow-up as the trans comes out from Introvert into the Graviton as well. 2 minutes, 30 seconds on the clock. Loser able to take down Drex because the trans just did not last long enough. Rakudo and Tatiana following up on Ducksage Dave and Azar as Leoi able to get the double kill onto Giannis and Introvert, and that will be a hold of the objective with 2 minutes, 10 seconds on the clock.
Rakudo comes up absolutely massive with that shatter. There was a grab into the backline after Loser was demeched, and there was no support ult on the side of Enigma, but the shatter prevents any follow-up damage going on to anybody who was grabbed, which allowed the entirety of the Enigma team to stay in the fight.
That was absolutely huge for them. 1 minute, 50 seconds on the clock as we see Pachimari Ninjas preparing for another attack. Zelaros with the Diva Bomb online, going to go ahead and shoot it in, and it will be exchanged with Losers. Zelaros able to get the kill only onto Loser, though, but could be beneficial as they move their way back into the fight. The Transcendence gets popped by Leoi, trying to keep the team up as it is a 5v6 fight. Fat shatter coming out for Rakudo, gets just about the entire team as the rally gets popped. Another shatter coming out from Ducksage Dave, and that may be just exactly what they need in return. Gets the triple with the help of Introvert and Giannis, and that's going to be an objective 1 capture with a minute on the clock. That's going to give them 3 minutes, 30 seconds to grab objective number 2.
And unfortunately, with that cap of objective 1, this map just got 10 times harder for Enigma. The time bank isn't as bad as it could be, only 3 minutes and 30 seconds, counting down from that now. But it is still going to take a Herculean effort to stop this payload from rolling forward.
I'm actually a little surprised that we're not seeing that dive composition as we see the rally coming out from Zappa. Now we're going to see the Graviton and rally from Giannis and Azar looking to try to take out that damage. It's going to be unsuccessful as they get caught in the Graviton of Tatiana. Introvert ends up taking down the Zappa in the fight as the Transcendence gets popped by Leoi as well as the beat drop from Iron Wolf. Introvert going to pop the trans in return as it's essentially like dueling banjos, except it's dueling transcendencies. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I heal more than you maybe. And Giannis and Azar end up getting kills onto the tanks of Enigma, and that's going to go ahead and allow them to push into objective number 2 with 2 minutes 20 seconds on the clock.
Yes, and the only upside if you're the Enigma team is that everything was used there. The only thing Pachimari is gonna have in this fight is... I'm so sorry for that.
Yep.
Is a Graviton. But on the side of Enigma, there's no support ults. Nothing to stop this Graviton. It's gonna take Loser eating this Grav in order for this fight to go down.
Well, Loser has been pretty hungry for most of these fights, so let's go ahead and see how it goes. The Graviton comes out, doesn't get eaten, but the Diva Bomb from Loser going into the backline ends up doing damage. Rakudo just swinging away as well as Zappa end up getting 3 kills, make that 4 for Loser as Azar ends up taking down Rakudo in return. That's going to be a cleanup of the objective. Zelaros getting staggered and going to get flailed right there by Zappa, just like no big. Hooah! And that is going to be a cleared objective, 1 minute 25 seconds on the clock.
And now all of a sudden this went from something that was terrifying for Enigma to now the Pachimari ninjas are looking down the barrel of a gun. They have 1 minute and 25, less than that even at this point, to try to not only get back to the point but push it the last few meters when they don't have a significant ult advantage to try to push on this.
I agreed. They have to earn that up as quickly as possible, but it looks like they're going to use ults to make ults as Drex comes in with the beat drop to the fight. Transcendence gets popped by Introvert, trying to keep everyone up, but Iron Wolf going to exchange the beat drop in return to try to get the team healed back up. I believe Leoi probably going to be popping that trans here pretty soon as well to try to keep the fight going as Tatiana ends up taking down Duck Sage Dave. Leoi able to take down Azar. It's a 3v6 fight. Pachimari seems to be lighting up the death side of the scoreboard, and that's going to go ahead and push them all the way back to... Oh, Introvert ends up getting taken down with a headshot by Leoi. Oh my goodness, I swear we're seeing the Diamond Jonak right now.
Yes, indeed, we are from Rioli, and it's huge that he was able to hold his trans for that. As we are looking at last fight, Iana should be able to build up into a Grav at this fight, unless he gets taken out early. But Lioli holding his trans, not needing it in that last fight, means that there's a way for Enigma to sustain and win this.
It looks like we may be going to a map 5 here, folks. Overtime now ticking away as we see the dive composition come in for the side of the Pachimari Ninjas. This didn't work so well last time around, but let's see if they can make it happen as we see the Fire Strike go in, gets a lot of charge right there. Rakudo ready to do the shatter as the Diva Bomb comes in. Triple kill from Loser in the Graviton. Overtime's going to tick away. Enigma going to tie up the series 2-2, and we're going to a map 5, folks.
Yes, indeed. That last second switch to Winston unfortunately did not benefit. They were hoping to get Lioli off the high ground there, but all it did was take away a shield that they desperately needed. Loser saw his opportunity and just went for the fattest Diva Bomb of a lifetime.
And here it comes. Boom! But Rakudo gets the play of the game because that hammer touched everybody's butt. Goodness gracious.
Stealing plays.
That's Rhines and Briggs. That's what they're so good at doing. As long as they touch everybody, it's all good. But somehow Zarya doesn't get those plays for having the Graviton. That just... it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever how this system works. So
yeah, if you're a Zarya or an Ana main, you're used to not getting credit.
Well, I try to up my tanks and healers as much as I possibly can, as should Enigma be doing right now as we go into the final match onto, I believe it is Oasis, maybe? We will see here shortly. But go ahead, start blowing up the chat with who y'all want to see take this away. Again, some of us already know how this is going to end, but I'm still really excited to see how this is going to end up with the final score being the way that it could be. Oh, we're going to Ilios, actually. All right. I love seeing me some Ilios right there, so we're going to be headed to Ilios for the final map. Go ahead, blow up the chat with who you all have loved seeing playing as well this evening. Megalad, who are you leaning towards for your player of the match this evening?
Player of the match, either way, it's got to go, depending on win-loss, obviously, but it's got to go to Lioli, I think. He's been charging his Zen ult extremely quickly. He's been coming in clutch with absolutely either holding it at the right time or using it at the right time to help turn the fights around. And just the discord and the damage output is insane.
I have to agree with that. If I were given healer love tonight, that would definitely be the direction I'm leaning. It would be between Tatiana and DuckSave Dave right now if I were going the tank route, because Tatiana just staying incredibly charged. Those Gravitons always coming in clutch. Not a single one getting eaten by the enemy diva during every fight that they've had so far. Just able to do an incredible amount of damage, because as we know, if you charge up a Zarya, you are asking for trouble. And oh, it looks like I was wrong. We were headed to Nepal instead, because
Somebody said Ilios, they thought a Widowmaker was coming out. They were like, whoa, we can't have damage.
Whoa, we can't not run goats at this point. Come on. This is not allowed. This is not allowed. So, it looks like we're going to Nepal instead for our final map between Pachimari Ninjas and Enigma. Go ahead and start cheering up in the chat. Who do you want to see take away this map here as we move our way into Village? It looks like we're seeing Snoats v. Goats again.
Exactly, but you do have the Mei wall, which perfectly walls off one side of this choke. It gives you such good zoning control, especially on this point, to have the Mei.
Well, let's see if Azar can go ahead and pull off a miracle as they've done before, as the point unlocks in 10 seconds. Right now we see Enigma Ore taking control of the objective. The Mei wall just trying to provide distance between themselves and the enemy, as Leoli able to take down Azar. Iron Wolf following up on Ducksage Dave, and the fight isn't over, but Enigma has already claimed the objective in their favor. Leoli ends up taking down Ionis on the brig, and they're going to fight them off the objective and back to spawn. 10% and climbing right now for the side of Enigma.
And this is the part where you want to switch off of that Mei composition. If you don't have first control, then you're going to lose value. The chokes are going to get harder and harder for you to try to set up angles just because you don't have that inside access.
Oh, and you are absolutely right, because Tatiana going to take down Azar before they even get close to touching the objective point. 30% and climbing, and we're going to see the charge of Ducksage Dave back to the rest of the team right there. Azar
Somebody died on my goats team. I gotta go.
Yeah, bye. I left a pie in the oven. I gotta get back. Azar is charging up that Mei ult rather quickly, as you're seeing. It's all icicles at a distance. Looking already over half, as we see the Graviton ends up coming out, as well as the oh my goodness, every single ultimate being popped right now. This is ridiculous. Loser coming in with the Diva Bomb ends up getting blocked by Azar's clutch wall. The only thing left is Ducksage Dave. Shatter gets a double right there, but the tackle comes in from Rakudo, ends up getting Drex as Zappa follows up on Ducksage Dave. Azar getting the double kill on Iron Wolf, and Tatiana is now a 3v4 on the objective as Leoli takes down Ionis. The Mei wall goes up, separating out the rest of Enigma from the objective. They end up getting frozen off, locked out by the wall, and that's despite the fact that they were actually winning that fight. They're actually going to lose it as the objective moves over to Pachimari Ninjas, 10% and climbing to 80%.
What you don't see in that fight is Rakudo charged up his Shatter extremely quickly. He goes for the Shatter. Ionis has this hero play to stun him out of it. Ooh. And then you immediately have Azar go in with the Mei, immediately wall off the point, doesn't allow anybody in, and they just get the free cap.
I know, that was absolutely crazy. And as you were saying, those Mei walls are incredibly beneficial. Even at this choke point right here, you just put a Mei wall up right there as Azar just waiting. And there it goes. Zelaros cleaning up the objective right now. And that's going to be a cleanup right there. 44% and climbing for the Pachimari Ninjas, as we see the hard reset of Loser right over the side. That mini diva, how to save a life, right over the side. Shatter, oh! The Mei wall from Azar, block the Shatter, no!
It looks like everybody sympathizes with that.
It's like even in Diamond, you can't get away from that Satan Mei blocking off a Shatter. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, and blocked off the return of Ducksage Steve to the team. No! no!
To be fair, Zelaros was able to get 2 picks because of that wall, but still, if you're the Reinhardt in that situation, you're just let me in.
Yeah. Oh man, that was an oof right there. 90% and climbing for the Pachimari Ninjas. As we see, Duckstage Dave has made it back to the objective. Trans and Wall, or Graviton and Wall go up, and Zelaros just cleaning up as Duckstage Dave brings in the shatter. That's a sextuple kill right there. Team kill ringing out loud, 100 to 80% for the side of Pachimari Ninjas. It looks like they're looking to match how they did on map number 1 here on map number 5.
I guess when you're that confident in your May play, you can just, do as you want. Your Reinhardt, unnecessary. You can just wall wherever you like.
Yeah, exactly. That's all we need to do at this point. The question is, Enigma is finding themselves incredibly puzzled right now because they have to figure out what they're going to do to counter this composition coming now into... I always forget what this map is called. It's like Sanctuary? Something like that?
I think this one is Sanctuary, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. So it will be interesting to see what they end up coming up with. Normally on this map, I see a lot of spin to wins from the Hammond with that pole in the middle. You see some bunkers sometimes. And it looks like we're still seeing goats v snoats.
Goats v snoats. Always
v
fun.
snoats, snoats v goats, goats v dotes and snoats and votes. It feels like we're doing a freaking Dr. Seuss book at this point. Azar looking to try to take down Rakudo solo, getting a little cocky right there. Going to end up icicling off as Zelaros is able to finish up the kill on Rakudo with the Discord from Introvert as Tatiana ends up taking down Giannis in return. It looks like without the fight even... Oh! Fat Shatter coming in from Duckstage Dave ends up getting 3 and the cleanup to follow as Azar gets the punch kill onto Leoli. Zelaros and Duckstage Dave getting the final kills in that fight, and that's going to be a cleared point and an objective climbing in the favor of Pachimari Ninjas, 20% and climbing.
If you're Enigma, your greatest strength right now is that you've been staying very grouped up in this GOATS composition the entire time. The downside is you're staying very grouped up. Which means May's just allowed to just spray her ice, you're all frozen, and there's just no anything you can do.
Don't you hate that's like the same thing? It's like the good and the bad and the ugly all in the same. As we see the May, oh, here comes the Blizzard already out from Azar as the Graviton was holding everyone in place. It does seem to freeze a couple on the edge, and that's going to be enough for Zelaros and Introvert to go ahead and clean up the objective right there. That's going to be just about a team kill. The only one left is Loser, who is trying to do some Sombra-y stuff in the backline right now. 60% and climbing. Loser has really got to find a way to set this up for their team, because it's going to essentially take an EMP for them to be able to dislodge this composition.
Not even necessarily, it's just a matter of if they can know where the May is at all times, because the May is just getting too much value out of them staying grouped up, so they have to find a way to disposition her as they move into the point.
Well, there's the Graviton coming out, but the Trans, again, from Introvert, going to go ahead and save the day as Duckstage Dave gets the Fire Strike onto Zappa. Introvert able to take down Loser, ends up spawning them out as Giannis, Zelaros, and Azar getting kills of their own. Introvert gonna ring out the team kill with the balls in Tatiana's face. Excuse me. And Pachimari Ninjas are gonna go ahead and take away this map and the match 3-2 here on Nepal. Duckstage Dave with the play of the game. And it's gotta be either one of those shatters or something.
I mean, yeah, right here.
Oh no! It was the like quintuple Fire Strike in the shatter. Holy goodness!
The kill feed of at least 5 Zarya kills, but the Rhine gets play.
Again, it's always somebody that you didn't expect. Well, Pachimari Ninjas, as we had already known going into tonight, are moving on to the semifinals. They'll actually be playing CGC Sunstone, who won their semifinals match earlier this week I believe on Tuesday. Let me check the schedule real quick while we do that. But go ahead, blow up the chat with who y'all want your player of the match to be this evening. Megalad, since it's your first time casting with us that I know of, go ahead and let us know who is your player of the match for this evening.
I really wanted to stick with my guns, but unfortunately, I am going to have to swap. It is going to be my lad Dave on the Reinhardt, just coming in clutch the entire evening, ever since he came in. Wasn't in on map 1, but that was fine, because he came in clutch shatter after clutch block after clutch shatter, and, some Winston play, because, you have to try to change it up. Try to change it up.
I'm gonna have to stick with mine. I'm gonna have to give it to Lioli, even though they were essentially on the losing team for this one. I still have to give it to them. The amazing work that they were doing, every single transcendence that continued to come out throughout the entire fight, and just those headshots, like every single time, double, triple kills, taking control of the high ground as a lone Zenyatta. Like, that is some incredible Zenyatta play. If only it would have been enough to bring Enigma into the finals, but that will be unfortunate. So I was correct. We will be seeing Pachimari Ninjas versus CGC Sunstone on Tuesday of this week. For tomorrow night, we may be seeing a double header tomorrow night, depending on how quickly the first match goes. We're going to be seeing Night Wolves versus Nebula Phoenix in the semifinals for the Platinum Division at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Expandable Syndicate versus Ragin' Cajun will also be going at it tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll try to get into that match as quickly as we possibly can, but if not, it will definitely be postcasted for later view this week. And then after those two matches, we have the finals. That's it, folks. That's going to be the end of Season 2 this week. The Platinum Finals, the Diamond Finals, the Masters Finals, and I wish I could be saying the Grandmasters Finals. But all the teams kind of just dissipated since we waited so long, because they only had like the semifinals and the finals. So the teams that were here, the teams that would have normally been in the semifinals and finals, have kind of all disbanded, except for Hardbots. So congratulations to Hardbots as our Grandmasters champions. They were able to hold out.
Hard fought, well earned.
Hard fought, well earned, but we are looking at possibly doing an exhibition match. It will depend on who the winner of the Masters Division playoffs are going to be. We'll give them an opportunity to choose whether or not they want to face off against Hardbots in the Grandmasters, so that Hardbots at least feels like they fought for it. I'm not saying that they didn't, because they did do incredible during the season. I'm not saying that, but at least give them something for their effort being champions. They want to get in on this playoffs action, so we definitely want to help them out. With that being said, that's going to be it for us here at the Rose League. I want to thank Dr. Heathen for recording this match for us. We could not do any of this without you, buddy. Go ahead, hit that follow button at the top of your screen, or you can hit that subscribe button. $4.99 a month or a Twitch Prime, Amazon Prime subscription will continue to support our amazing community as we get ready to head into Season 3 starting in about a couple months or so. Honestly, I believe registration opens up next week. So with that being said, that's it for us here at the Rose League. Catch us tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Captain Jack. And this
is this where I was supposed to
say
something?
And that's where you say your name.
I'm that guy.
Yeah, and that's Mega Lad, and we'll see y'all next time.
you make me wanna talk back to you. Say it like that.